Thunder rolled over the sprawling white mansion on Willow Creek Drive, where billionaire Edward Langston stood in his marble-floored foyer, veins throbbing with rage. His navy suit, perfectly pressed minutes ago, now clung to his body with the sweat of fury. His trembling hands pointed at the young black maid standing before him, Amara Johnson, her wide, tear-streaked eyes reflecting a pain that words could not describe. "She hit my son," Edward barked, his voice echoing off the chandelier. "How dare you lay a hand on a Langston?" Amara's lips parted, her voice breaking. "Sir, I didn't. I swear I didn't touch him. I would never hurt." "Enough." Edward's voice cracked like thunder. He looked toward the small boy cowering on the staircase. Ethan, his 8-year-old son, whose face bore a faint red mark on his cheek. Edward turned to him, softening instantly. "It's okay, son. Daddy's here now. Tell me what she did." Ethan hesitated. His small hands twisted in the hem of his shirt. His big blue eyes darted between Amara and his father. She yelled at me," he whispered. "And then, she what?" Edward pressed. Ethan looked away. "She slapped me." The words fell like a hammer. Amara's breath caught. "No, Ethan, that's not true." But Edward wasn't listening. "I've treated you like family," he hissed. "And you repay me by assaulting my son." Amara took a step forward, trembling. "Sir, please, He raised a finger. "Save it for the police." Minutes later, red and blue lights flashed outside the mansion gates. 2 officers entered, Detective Daniel Harris and Officer Kelly Moore. Harris, a calm man in his 40s with steady brown eyes, observed the scene silently before speaking. "What happened here?" Edward's voice carried authority, the kind that came from owning half the city. "This woman hit my child. I want her arrested immediately." Amara turned toward the detective. "Please, sir, I didn't. Ethan was upset because I wouldn't give him ice cream before dinner. He fell when he tried to grab it himself. That's all." Edward scoffed. "Fell? You expect me to believe that?" Detective Harris kneeled before Ethan. "Hey, buddy," he said softly. "Can you tell me what happened?" Ethan looked uneasy, glancing at his father, then at Amara. She was mad at me," he murmured. The detective's eyes narrowed slightly. "Did she hit you?" Ethan nodded slowly, his voice almost inaudible. "Yes." Amara gasped, tears spilling down her cheeks. "That's not true. You know I didn't, Ethan. Please." Edward slammed his fist against the wall. "Take her away." As the officers led Amara toward the car, she sobbed. "Please, I would never hurt a child. I love him like my own." Detective Harris frowned, watching her through the rain as she disappeared inside the patrol car. Something about her words didn't match the anger in Edward's tone. He glanced back at Ethan, who was now holding his father's hand, but there was guilt in the boy's eyes, not fear. And Harris knew, something wasn't right. The police station smelled faintly of coffee and despair. Amara sat in the interrogation room, her hands shaking. "Detective, I promise you, I didn't touch him. Ethan's like family to me. I've been with them since his mother passed away." Detective Harris folded his arms. "You've worked for the Langstons for 3 years. Yes, Mrs. Langston, God rest her soul, hired me after Ethan's birth. I raised him when she was sick. He called me Mara Mama once." Her voice cracked. "How could I ever hurt him?" Harris looked down at his notepad. "Then why would the boy say you did?" Amara's eyes glistened. "Because he's scared of his father. You don't know what it's like in that house. Mr. Langston controls everything. He yells when Ethan spills milk, punishes him for playing outside too long." Harris leaned forward. "Are you saying Edward Langston hits his son?" She hesitated, whispering, "I never saw it, but I heard things. Ethan crying, doors slamming, and the next day, bruises that no one could explain." Harris scribbled notes. He had investigated rich men before, ones who smiled in public but turned monstrous behind closed doors. "All right," he said finally. "I'll talk to Ethan again." Meanwhile, Edward Langston sat in his study, sipping whiskey and ranting into his phone. "Yes, I want her fired. Press charges. Make sure the media doesn't hear about this." His voice lowered when Ethan entered the room quietly. "Dad," Ethan said softly, "Amara didn't mean to." Edward turned sharply. "Stop right there." He knelt, gripping his son's shoulders. Do you understand what happens to people who lie to the police? You told them the truth, didn't you? Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Yes, sir. Good. Edward smiled coldly. Because that woman needed to learn her place. You're a Langston. Don't ever forget that. Outside the mansion, Detective Harris parked his car discreetly. He wanted to talk to Ethan alone, without Edward breathing down his neck. He approached the back garden where the boy sat on the swing, clutching his teddy bear. Hey there, champ, Harris greeted gently. Mind if I join you? Ethan shook his head. The detective sat beside him. You like swings? Yeah. Ethan's voice was small. Amara pushed me on this swing every afternoon. She sounds nice, Harris said. But tell me something, Ethan. Did she really hurt you? The boy's lower lip trembled. He looked away. Dad said she did. Is that what you believe too? Ethan hesitated, then shook his head quickly, tears streaming down his cheeks. No, she didn't. I fell off the stool when I tried to reach the ice cream. I was scared to tell Dad because he gets mad when I break rules. Harris' jaw tightened. So your father made you say she did it? Ethan sniffled. He said if I didn't, he'd send her away forever and he might send me to boarding school too. The detective's heart sank. You're very brave, Ethan. Thank you for telling me the truth. That night, Harris prepared his report, but he knew it wouldn't be easy. Edward Langston's influence ran deep in the city. Money could twist justice in ways honesty never could. Still, Harris had something powerful, a child's truth. He decided to set a trap, one that would force the billionaire to reveal his lies in front of everyone. The next morning, Edward Langston arrived at the station, confident and composed, with his lawyer trailing behind him. Detective Harris, he said curtly, I hope this is quick. I have meetings worth more than your salary. Harris ignored the jab. We just need to confirm a few details. We also thought it would be good if Ethan were here too, for clarity. Edward frowned. He's a child. He's been through enough. But before he could protest further, the door opened, and Ethan entered, holding his teddy bear. A female officer guided him gently to a seat beside his father. Harris set up a small recorder on the table. We'll just go over your statements again. Edward smiled stiffly. Fine. Let's end this. Harris turned to Ethan. Ethan, can you tell me again what happened that evening? The room fell silent. Ethan's hands fidgeted nervously. Edward shot him a warning glance, but Harris noticed. It's okay, the detective said softly. No one here will hurt you. Just tell us what really happened. Ethan's breathing quickened. His father's stare grew sharper. But then Harris leaned closer and whispered, remember what we talked about yesterday, champ. The truth sets people free. Ethan looked at him, then at Amara, sitting quietly across the room with tear-filled eyes. Finally, he spoke. I lied. Edward froze. What did you say? Ethan's voice broke. Amara didn't hit me. I fell. I was scared to tell you, Dad. The lawyer blinked. Ethan, are you sure? But the boy continued, sobbing. You said if I didn't blame her, you'd send her away. I didn't want her to go. I'm sorry. The room erupted into silence. Amara covered her mouth, tears streaming down. Edward's face turned pale. Ethan, stop this nonsense. Detective Harris stood up calmly. Mr. Langston, I think you've said enough. He turned toward the lawyer. We now have evidence of coercion and false accusation. Your client attempted to manipulate a minor's statement. Edward stammered. You can't prove. Harris pulled out his phone. Actually, I can. The garden cameras in your backyard caught audio of your conversation with Ethan last night. You told him to lie. Edward's face drained of color. That's illegal surveillance. No, Harris said firmly. Your own cameras. Your own system. We retrieved the footage with a warrant. Edward slumped back in his chair, defeated. Amara cried silently as Harris uncuffed her. You're free to go, Miss Johnson. Ethan ran to her, wrapping his small arms around her waist. I'm sorry, Mara Mama. She knelt down, hugging him tight. It's okay, baby. I forgive you. As the officers led Edward away, Harris glanced at Amara. You just got your justice. Amara smiled weakly. No, detective. Ethan did. Outside, the morning sun broke through the clouds, warm, golden light washing over them. Ethan clung to her hand, whispering, can you still stay with me? She smiled through tears. If the court lets me, I'll never leave your side again. Harris watched them go. A woman who had lost everything but gained the truth, and a child who had finally spoken it. Because sometimes, the smallest voice in the room can be the loudest echo of justice.